All right, we are live. Welcome back with another Creator Spotlight. Today, I have the esteemed Amy and Justin Hunt with me tonight. Good friends of mine, known Justin for a long time. Finally got to meet Amy in person in Spornfest this year. But great to have you guys on. So, thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what we always start at here is, of course, is first off, how did you get into comic books? Not just as an artist, but what got you into comics as a kid or whatnot. And then, where do you want to see yourself in 20 years?
Still alive.
I'm going to let you handle that one.
Still like to be alive in 20 years. So for me, I grew up in the 70s, and there was a spinner rack at 7-Eleven, and we get Archie and Richie Rich and Disney, like the McDuck series.
Mm-hmm.
And those were like, I don't know, like 25 cents each maybe. And then the Marvel had some of the stuff on there. It was kind of a little bit of everything, but they were like 50 cents. So they were more money. So you had to, figure out buy two of these or one of these. So I'd just buy random ones. And I grew up watching the Adam West Batman. So reading the Batman comic and seeing it show that they were different. And, Buck Rogers was out on TV and Wonder Woman and the Hulk. So, you would kind of get the books and had the coloring books and all that other stuff. And then I just started collecting comics. And then the first comic I really started to want to have the whole series of, aside from all Star Wars, which all the Star Wars and Indiana Jones, I have the whole run of all of them out in the other room. But it was Gru from Sergio Aragonés.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge Gru fan. So I have all of those. I just like the humor because I used to read Mad Magazine, so he had a little stuff on the inside of it. And then my twin brother and I would do artwork, and he would color it, and we would draw like Smurfs and Thundercats and Space Ghost, and we draw Gru and we do our own little thing. So that's how I got into comics to start with, and all my friends did it too. And we were into Dungeons and Dragons and everything. So it was a typical kids from the 80s sitting around with pizza in New Jersey and, playing Dungeons and Dragons and talking about what if you had the Green Lantern's ring right now? What would you do? And if you had these superpowers, what would you do?
Very Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory is written by people my age. So
exactly.
So it's kind of, Big Bang Theory more validates what we went through. And the thing is, when I was a kid, you were the nerd, you were the outsider if you're doing all that stuff. And now it's all like mainstream. So you kind of feel like they stole it from you. But I don't know. I kind of like the fact that people are getting into it and just being youthful. And then getting into the art part of it. I've always been drawing. Throughout school, during my military career, I do like unit patches and designs and, spray paint a wall when you get somewhere and stuff like that, and just doing artwork. I was doing paintings for the NFL, and somebody asked me if I can do stuff like comic book style, which is a totally different art style than photorealistic paintings. So I started doing some doodles, and then I just made a bunch of prints and went to a Comic-Con, and was just selling fan art for a bit. And then I did a couple covers for just super low budget pieces. And then my first big one was for Brian Pulido for Coffin Comics. And that kind of opened the door and added to my resume. I had done some non-comic book, but comic work for Marvel prior to that and Lucasfilm. And then it just kind of started stacking on top of each other. Here's my resume. Here's what I'm doing. And then just kind of getting challenged. But for me, the art is still a challenge because it's totally different styles. So every time I draw, if you look at all the covers I've done, they're all different styles. Yeah. Because I try to draw what the publisher's asking for. So one's photorealistic and one's super cartoony, and then one's sexy woman and one's not sexy woman. And So, I mean, that's how I got into it. Long answer. Sorry.
Oh no, that's what I love to hear the story, because here's the thing is, like, if you look in our industry today, right, people have a certain style, right? Like, you can tell who's a Monty Moore, who's a, Don McTeague. You can tell that as soon as you see that. Yours is not like that, and I've seen that across the different books that you've done. Hell, even the artwork you've done for me, right? Like, it's different styles depending on what it is. Um, and that's kind of refreshing too at the same time, because you're not clenched into one certain style, right? And that kind of is what's happening a lot in our world in the independent side, is that some people are kind of getting pigeonholed into a certain thing, and so they're kind of stuck. It's either you do sexy girls or you go do fantasy, right? And it's like, but what if you want to do both, right? Like, you should be able to have the opportunity to do both. Because like, I remember when I picked up this one, right, from the old school days, Bad Dog and those guys. But I was like, it was a sexy girl. I was like, okay, kind of cool, kind of see how it does, and whatnot. But the cool thing is to see like how everything has kind of changed. Yeah, yeah. Don't show me that. We gonna play that game. We'll play that game.
Oh, I can keep going.
Well, I know you can. I've only got so many. But yeah, that was like one of the first times I actually saw your work, was in that comic. And then I saw the Lady Death that you did, the first Lady Death that you did, which I'm still after that damn book. So, everybody wants that book.
Right.
Oh, I know. I mean, the only thing I got is this little print thing,
Yeah.
But that's it. But it's one of the harder ones to find, because it's
There's
an
only
older.
75 of them.
And us collectors in the Sworn are kind of crazy about books. So, we kind of like try to pick up everything. And if you have a dual set, it's even worse, because then we're all like bartering, trying to get the one cover, like I did with the Hell Witch set, and then the Little Muertas. I'm like, I had to have both Little Muertas because I have the inks. I'm like, it's kind of a given. You got to have both.
Well, those are fun ones too, because originally, and the first one I did, he said it's a limited edition. We did it at Emerald City, which is like my home con. Then I did a couple more for like it was like a Christmas Halloween crossovers and stuff. And then when I did this last run, I did 2 Lemon Orthas, 2 Lady Death, and 2 Hell Witch, but they were all the mystery envelopes. And at first, honestly, I was like, man, I got relegated to mystery envelope. And then I think it was Martin Esquire. I can't remember who it was exactly. And they're like, dude, think about it this way. There's 200 prints of these other books, or 400 prints of these other books, or whatever else. There's 45 of yours.
Correct.
So it's harder to get yours. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, So the value of them is higher because there's less of them.
Yeah, it becomes a pain in the ass when you're trying to find it, and then people don't want to give them up either, right? And so it's like, you're like, hey, I need that one just to finish this set, and they're like, what do you got? It's because we all do the mystery envelope trading, especially after it comes out like, you didn't get the one you really wanted, but hey, this person wants that one too,
right?
So you trade, and it works out great for that.
Yeah.
But you're right, when you're down to like 45 or 75, and then those, you've got to really pretty much trade for that as soon as it comes out, or you're done, because the secondary market will snatch those up and it'll be 3 times the price. I hate paying for it, but sometimes you have to.
We kind of took that philosophy into the NinjaWitch series. Like when we do a special, like the hollow foil, virgin hollow foils, we put it out there, and whoever orders it, that's all we do. We print them. We print one extra in case somebody's gets ruined, right, when it ships, and then we put one in the archive. So when 4 people order it, we print 6. That's it. There's only 6 of those books in existence, period. We're never going to do the run again. So the people who are supporting it are getting these books now, and then hopefully as the series increases in popularity, people are like, wait, I have, book one. I have this one. I have this one. And like when we do the current Kickstarter, it starts next week.
Yep.
If you want to buy book one, there's only one cover we offer. If you want to buy book two, there's only one cover we offer. You can't pick. Book one, here's book two. Good luck.
Yeah. And I kind of like that because what it does is it makes it to where, like, I ordered all the books when book one came out. So it was, I know, I was happy for that one. I couldn't do that with book two, but I did it with book one. But it was kind of nice because I got one of the DeBalfo holofoils,
Yes.
And I like that. I like that it's not digital too, right? Like it makes you actually read the book. Like you actually have to understand what's going on with it, because there's so many that just do the digital plus the book, and then you never actually look at the book. Whereas this is kind of an older mindset. Like you actually got to look at the art and read the story to get out what's going on. And it's not just a collector war at that point, right? That's how it feels with a lot of these Kickstarters. It's like, oh, I got to get it. I got to get all these covers because they're going to be gone, or I just want to have them all and then just read the digital, And then what happens? They all get sold. They get sold down the road, So it's like, okay, that's why I appreciate what you guys did, because when like with book two, right? Like I got the Gomez one,
Yep.
and then I got the print, right? And the print was remarked, right? And like that was funnier than crap when you're like, hey, guess what? He remarked them all.
Didn't even ask him. I just basically we wrote him and I said, hey man, we want to do these as commemorative. Are you cool with it? I think we gave him 5 of them. He kept 3 for archive, and we printed like 1 extra in case it gets bent. 2 of them got bent in shipping, so automatically we were down. But there was only 20 of them for the public, so 2 got damaged. So there's only 18. But he's like, yeah, I'll sign them. And then he's like, I was bored, so I did a remark on all of them. I'm like, okay, so there's a bonus for whoever wants to buy it. We're not charging you anything extra. And I mean, the reality is to get that full big ass print, signed, numbered, and remarked for $60.
Yeah, it was well worth it. I mean, I got one, and I liked how you did it. You shipped them separately. You shipped the books one way, and then you shipped the print differently, because that avoids the situation if something gets messed up, right? And and I appreciate that as a customer. And I still haven't found a good frame for that one yet, because those commemorative ones are kind of hard like that. You can't just buy a standard frame for them.
No,
no, you have to get a custom one from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something.
Yeah.
Well, we have the original art. How do we frame that?
We got a floating frame for the original.
So it's got the floating glass around it and all. So the original's out in the hallway. We have a NinjaWitch hallway over here. It's all NinjaWitch, the whole hallway.
That's awesome. That's how it is. Like my whole office is kind of like that. It's like all Lady Death and like chaos and mixture of everything. But then like in my hallways, it's random stuff like concert posters from like 30 years ago. And so my wife's like, "Are you ever going to take that down?" No.
Yeah.
All right, so talking about NinjaWitch. So this is kind of Amy's baby, and you're a supporting agent to it. So that's why I asked Amy to come on too. So Amy, kind of tell us, how did you get started with the story, and how do you want to see it go?
Well,
tell us.
Yeah, it's so basically I'm really terrible with names of shows, apparently. So we were watching Warrior Nun. I got it right this time. And
I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah, go get a drink. And kept calling it NinjaWitch. And I mean, I was fighting. Like, I'm like, let's watch NinjaWitch. He's like, there is no Ninja. I'm like, dude, it's NinjaWitch. We've been watching this. We're gonna watch it. Well, it turns out Warrior Nun, but we were sitting there and I was like, you know what? This actually sounds like this could be a cool character. So I Googled NinjaWitch, made sure there's no other NinjaWitch out there. And I was like, hey, will you just draw it? Just draw it. You know, I come from a, I'll talk kind of a background, you know, like you say something but it doesn't really happen, and he's very much like, we're gonna do this, let's get this done.
Yep.
And so he told me, he's like, I know some people in the comic book world, let's obviously come up with a backstory and we will make a book. I was like, wait, what? So my son actually helped me with the backstory. Would let him be involved. He actually has come up with a couple different things for our books and everything too, but we came up with a backstory and started with a comic book company who over-sexualized the crap out of her. And I was not happy with that because, you know, I'm not a TNA kind of gal. So I wanted a strong female character that was covered, and she's a fighter, so we don't need boobs out or anything. And they just over-sexualized the crap out of her. So luckily, Justin's great with contracts and everything. So he put in the contract that I owned everything about her, and we fired them. And
you had final approval on all print.
Yeah. And so we fired them and decided to start our own company. And then this way we could make her exactly as we saw and how we wanted her. And
well, we could control story, art, direction, timelines.
Yeah. And so for the future of NinjaWitch, it'd be really cool to see her on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's animated or live action TV show or a movie, I think that'd be pretty freaking awesome, don't you? It'd be pretty sweet. But so like that would be like the ultimate. Would just
or
be
a
seeing
really
her on
good
screen.
cosplay.
There's a lot of good cosplayers.
We had a cosplayer dressed as NinjaWitch. So we had her at Rose City Comic Con down in Portland. But yeah, so no, we're just gonna do more books. We're gonna have fun with it. It's fun being able to, like, you know, since I'm new to the comic book world, it's fun being able to do something and have something with Justin, and we're able to do it together. And like I said, my son, 13-year-old son, actually gets involved with it as well.
Well, in the stories, Amy comes up with the stuff. Like book 3, we were writing it, and so she does the stories. We kind of do the story arc together, and then we kind of streamline it, and then I do it like paragraph format. She's add this, don't add this, change this. This should really happen. Then I do like the bullet formats, and then I have to break it down per page, what's happening, and kind of like script it. And then I write the actual script per panel. So it's pretty laborious, but book 3 we were writing, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, I forget how far I was into it. I want to say I was probably 80% into it. She's like, mermaids. We need mermaids. Like, sure, let me
Who
rewrite.
doesn't love mermaids?
But I was like,
Everybody
let me
likes
rewrite
mermaids.
it. So there's goth mermaids in the book.
See, that's what I like about the story. You just don't know where it's going to go. And to me, that's what makes a good storyteller, right? Is like, if you don't know where the story's going, but you're hooked into it, then that's a good story to keep reading on to. And that's,
well, we have so much history to go off of with her too, because she's so old. So, like, I mean, there's so many stories out there that we have a list of things that we want to hit on, and possibilities are endless.
Yeah, kind of
Endless.
But the cool part is, like, there's certain characters that interact, and like I'm the worst, Nathan, honestly, because like on Christmas, I'll tell everybody in September, like, I'm ready to give you a Christmas present. I hate holding on to stuff. So like, I already know where book 4 and book 5 are.
And it's killing him.
It's killing me because I want to tell people, but I can't. But like book 3, we can't wait to show everybody, because there's certain things that happen in there and you're like, holy shit, I've never seen this before. So there's certain scenes and we're like, we should do this. And we're like, no, everybody does that. how do we do it different and
well,
own this?
and I think it helps that, like I said, I'm new to the comic book world, so there's a lot of things that I don't even know that have been done in comic books.
Yeah, but not just the
So I
comics,
kinda
like
have
the
like
movies,
a-
like the
right.
whole pirate part that we have in this one.
I kind of bring a little bit of a fresher perspective since
The younger.
younger.
I mean, so seriously, like you read book 1, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
And 2.
yeah. So part of book 1, you see like there's references to Star Wars. There's the Indiana Jones
Oh.
fertility idol. We hid that in there. And there's the story itself. There's a lot of go back and forth. Book 2 has some of that. Book 3, I'm quoting Marx, Young, quote Plato. I got quotes from the movie The Matrix. We got, like, if you really pay attention to it, you can see where some of our stuff is like influenced by. But the whole feeling we wanted, and we agreed to this, was we wanted it to feel like you're watching. Like, we love the pace of like Indiana Jones flicks, not necessarily the whole story of the Crystal Skull, but like the pace of them. You know, it goes and then it starts and it goes and it, right, so it never really slows down. But also like a James Bond.
Yeah.
Right.
It never stops.
Yeah, and that's how we started book 1. That whole bike chase was like, how do we make this like you just walked into a James Bond film and start with action right off the bat? You know,
and that's kind of hard because a lot of movies don't do that anymore, right? Like, anime is a good platform for that. A lot of anime starts out action based real fast, then they go into the backstory, right? And it's similar to like what's happened in NinjaWitch, is that you started with a lot of the action, then you started getting some pieces and parts of the backstory. And to me, I don't mind that because I'd rather know like what's going on now versus everything that happened 600 years ago, right? Like, the 600 years ago part is nice because you'll get to get as understand like where she's going at and why she's doing what she's doing as she goes throughout the story.
Right.
And it's like flashback sequences, right? So I always love those. You know, it's like movies don't do that anymore. You know, if you see, you know, it's always about either the action, the drama, or the comedy, but then there's no flashbacks. Heck, I think the last one I saw really was The Hangover, right? The Hangover used to do great flashback sequences. Well, this happened this time. Oh, well, what about Phil?
Right. Well, we didn't want to do the chronology of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, you were in the military. You don't start off and you're like, so in 1991, this guy did this. And then in 1992, this guy did this. And then, like, our stories, our anecdotes cover the whole spectrum. So it depends on where you are to tell it. It's up to the audience to put it together.
Yeah.
Right. And if you miss book 2 and you go from book 1 to book 3, or you miss book 1, you know, there's different things that tie into it. And to Amy's point, with it having 700 years, right? We can go here and here and here and here. And then as you put them together, you're like, this is the whole picture. And, you know, the reason we're doing books 2, 3, 4, and 5 is because in book 1, they ask a question of how did the Jagannati know that they were there?
Yeah. And
then this is the dawn of betrayal. And actually book 5 is called Judas's Kiss.
Yeah.
So, but it's really cool. And then like Amy's into witchcraft and everything. So we have actual incantations. We have actual, this is how it's done. We have
ceremonies.
Yeah. Ceremonies. We have book 4 has got a really cool scene that, but it's based on actual ceremonies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to say it so bad.
Good. Don't spoil it yet.
No.
It'll kill you.
But it's cool because book 1 to book 5 brings you back to book 1. So it kind of closes a story, but what it does is that then book 6 can basically continue where book 1 was.
Yeah.
So like 2, 3, 4, 5 as a whole, the interlude to add and develop these other characters that appear in it. And then I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to be working on an ash can to introduce a new character. I have all the pages. I'm going to do all the pencils and inks for it myself. which I haven't done sequentials in probably 9 years. So it's not started because I'm dreading it because I don't want to do it. But it's cool because Amy came up with a character and how we're going to do this story. And originally it was going to be a crossover with another series, but they had some
Issues.
IP issues. So we're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to do it ourselves. Introduce this character. And in book 5, we're going to add it as a freebie.
See,
So,
I like the old school ash cans we used to get with the Wizard magazine back in the 90s.
Yeah, same thing. It's going to be, I think it's 12 pages or 13 pages.
Hell yeah.
It's a short book. And it just basically follows a different character. And then NinjaWitch is in it, but not like, she's not the protagonist.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, that's cool. And then so now later when we talk about a story and we're like, oh, this character, you're like, oh shit, I read that. Mm-hmm. But here's the deal. If you don't back book number 5, you don't get it.
And see, to me, that's one of the key things, right? Like, is when you back a book and you get, like, say, the stretch goals, right? And you get those things like the Ashcan that you're doing here. The Ashcan's a lot of work because that's half of a book, right? Like, most books are 24 to 36 pages today, so it's still at least half of a book to write. But at the same time, when you get those freebies, that's what brings people back too. Like, you guys have some phenomenal. Like, I've got, I think, 4 of the pins already. For the NinjaWitch pins. Yep. I always keep finding them. I'm like, okay, there's another one. But I enjoy it. Exactly. I love freebie goodie stuff.
So our unlocks for this one is it's on.
It's a pearl paper.
It's it's satin pearl essence. It's really hard to see the glare on it, but I wonder if I can do it with this. It's really.
No, that makes it worse.
Well, it's supposed to look shiny, but whatever.
It's just got a pearl feel to it.
Yeah, it's
pearl linen,
but it's thick.
Yeah.
And then that's the word NinjaWitch in Japanese. And then what was really cool was a couple of months ago, I got a Joel Gomez Stormtrooper piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then he drew in it for free. So we took this as a bookmark, messaged him, and now one of the unlocks is the Joel Gomez sticker.
Okay.
Which is, that's pretty cool.
I liked it. I've got an Evil Ernie one. It's the only one he's ever done was Evil Ernie, but it was in a bookmark like that. And just the way he does that stuff, like every day, if you watch, like he does this little reel every day, like something he draws. I'm like,
yeah,
man, I would love to be able to draw like that. Like just
Me
go
too.
at it. Well, you do good. I mean, come on now. You're not a pushover either.
No. I'm saying like he's so fluidic. So the thing I like about Joel's art is, I don't mean it in the bad way, but it's sloppy art, right? Mm-hmm. There's no definitive. Here's this muscle tone. Here's this. The line doesn't connect to the other line. It's messy in that aspect. And when I draw, I like crisp lines. I don't like stuff where it's all over the place. So when I see somebody who draws that, I admire it and I want it. So like we have his original out there for the cover. I have a double Stormtrooper hanging on the wall. I bought his sketchbook and he drew an Indiana Jones on the inside of it. And then I have a Optimus Prime up on the wall also.
Oh, so you're the one who got the Optimus Prime. I remember seeing that.
I did. It did, and pissed Haley off. And she goes, did you buy it for me? And I was like, no, bought it for me.
Yeah, ironically, that was the first conversation Haley and I had was about Transformers because we're both bot fans, as you can see.
Yeah, I see.
And so we keep having to fight about Hot Rod every day.
Oh. So the question is, Beetle or Camaro?
Beetle.
Okay.
It's got to be a Beetle. I'm a G1er.
Okay, good. Oops, sorry, Izzy. She was lying down. I kicked her. Huh? You don't get that reference?
No.
G1 is Generation 1.
Oh.
and Bumblebee was originally a bug, and then they made him a Camaro in the movies.
It was a VW bug.
Yeah,
the VW bug.
They made him cooler in the movies. I don't know.
Actually,
cool?
it was kind of cool because in the first one with Shia LaBeouf, he started off with a bug, and then he was all damaged and everything, and then he saw a Camaro and he changed into the Camaro.
He scanned it. Yeah.
No, I don't think I ever saw
it. All right.
Some days I think the marriage will last, and then these conversations.
Well, remember I watched the Transformers and Beasts or whatever with you, and I fell asleep.
Rise of the Beasts. Yeah.
That was horrible, though.
I fell asleep hard. I was out cold.
Yeah,
I was snoring.
I think Revenge was probably one of the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Marky Mark.
Yeah, but I like on that one. I really like was the soundtrack by Jaworski, and I downloaded the whole soundtrack, so that was cool.
I like the idea that they had in the story, like the Fallen, right? You had the Fallen, you had Jetfire, and then you had the combination of parts where, it was kind of an homage back to Armada, where Optimus had combined with Jetfire back then.
Right, but they weren't like Megatron was all like not done the right way.
No, I mean, I guess that's the thing too. Is like when you think of Megatron from G1 as a gun, versus him as a tank or as a truck, and it's like okay, or the jet thing, and it's like you can't even tell. You can't even tell that he's really Megatron. So like, come on now.
Yeah, the gun is that, and he's got the same voice as Cobra Commander.
Oh yes.
So
people don't understand that.
Which, speaking of Cobra Commander, G.I. Joe in 1981-82 became popular as a comic from Larry Hama. Yep. And then, I'm trying to point this piece right here. That is Ace and Shipwreck by Larry Hama. So he had a booth right next to me at a con, and he was just doodling. I was like, "How much you want for it?" He's like, How much is lunch downstairs? I was like, I don't know, $28. He goes, well, I'll take 2 cheeseburgers, this and that. I was like, okay. So I bought lunch for Larry Hama, and we sat down and had lunch together, and he gave it to me.
I got to sit down with Simon Furman, and Bob Budiansky, because the Transformers comics was first. Yep. And Simon was kind of telling me the story, like how they came up with the ideas of like the names and stuff. And literally, it was Bob Budiansky on a Friday afternoon got told by Marvel, yeah, we need a bunch of names built, and you got to do it this weekend.
That's right. He had like 24 hours or 48 hours to come up with like 18 names or something.
He had to come up with all the names, the biographies, and what they were, and then even the names, Autobots and Decepticons. And Bob was saying, I don't know if I could do it again the way I did it back in the 80s, especially when Jim Shooter was there too.
Yeah, Jim Shooter was pretty cool. I like the way he focused on stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, DeFalco kind of changed that in the 90s.
Yeah, I don't have any Transformer comics. I have some G.I. Joe comics, some older ones. My favorite being the Snake Eyes Silent book.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I don't know if I showed it. I told you about it, but it's a 28-page book, and there's 9 panels on every page.
No.
And there's no words in the whole book.
Really?
Why? Because Snake Eyes is silent.
Oh.
And he's a ninja assassin. So they wrote the book, and you can follow him through this whole thing. And he's got this whole fight scene and all, but there's no writing in the whole book.
Interesting.
It's really cool. And nobody's been able to duplicate that kind of feel to it. And then you get to like Bloodshot, and there's like 6,000 words a page.
Oh my Lord.
The art. Like remember Bloodshot #1, the whole opening thing is like the history of the mafia gangs, and it's like it takes place in like a mall or something like that, and it's I don't know, it's just there's way more words than there is art. So
that's what kind of got me with Valiant, right? Like when they brought in Magnus and Solar from like the 60s and 70s and redid them, I'm like, this is too much. Like and I love Valentino, don't get me wrong, and I love those guys. But I'm like, I can't do this no more.
No, it's so we like when we do NinjaWitch, we try to make it so that whatever's written has meaning, you know, and sometimes you can say more with less. Although I'm a talker, so I'm kind of the kettle calling the pot black. But in the books,
You're anti-less is more.
not in the books. I don't write as much words. And then Dave Lentz is our letterer. And he's like, dude, this page needs something. Like, these people need to be saying shit. And I'm like, you're the letterer. What do you want them to say? So he's like, what if, like, in the origin story, where those brigands are coming out of the woods, I just said, attacking out of the woods. He's like, they got to say something. I was like, what would they say? He's like, "R, go get them." I was like, write it in there. So I think that's what's fun with our book too, is very collaborative.
Well, we give the interior artists a lot of room to play with and a lot of creativity. We don't tell them exactly what to do. Dave Lentz has helped out a lot.
Well, don't say it that way. We tell the artists what to do on most panels, but
but we do give them freedom.
Yeah, so like on a fight scene, I'll say panels 2 through 6. Cool fight, artist discretion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Direction, but not direction.
Yeah, it's like
for the most part. For the most part, we tell them what, but then there's like he said, every now and then we'll be like, you have your freedom to do whatever.
I think it's like when you do a movie, right? The director has this thing. He's like, we're gonna have a bar fight, and then he turns and he's like, you're in charge of fighting, so figure it out. We have 10 minutes, make a fight. And then he lets the stunt coordinator write it all. Versus the director, like, oh, he's going to punch here, and then he's going to just figure it out and surprise us. And it's worked really cool that way.
Well, and what's nice is that when they do that, right, they're going to put their own kind of spin on it, right? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work too. Like you're going to know in the story if it makes sense of the direction they're going. But the fun part is when they get it right, and then they consecutively get it right, and then you can kind of like let the leash down a little bit, right? Like once you see that they're okay, and then you can kind of push them and say, all right, go for it. Do 5 pages like that.
Yeah, there's been some, because I edited the book also, and there's been stuff where like the artist will write back and he's like, I'm not sure what you want, and then I'll draw like 3 panels. I'm like, here's what I'm seeing. And they're like, oh shit, yeah. And then they redo it, or I'm like, hey.
You haven't had to do that a lot lately because he does understand what you're thinking now.
So he understands my thought process, because when I do the script for him, I add a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But he speaks
Brazilian.
Portuguese.
Oh, Portuguese. Yeah, Brazilian.
Well, but I'll take, and if I can't figure it out, I'll go to like Google Translate, and then I'll put the Portuguese translation in there, and then the English translation, so to let him try to like put them together and come up with it. Or like I'll put like, this should feel like XYZ or something like that. But then there's times where I'll say like, the ship is crossing from the left to the right, and he draws it the other way. I'm like, dude, that way. Yeah, but no, I wanted it. No, the story has to have it go that way, because if it goes the other way, you're going backwards. And when you do storytelling, you have to move stuff left to right in the direction the person reads it. Otherwise, it confuses people. So, and then he'll take like the way we're sitting right now, they call it the 180 arc, right? So you draw this arc here. So anytime the camera goes from here and pans all the way around, she's always going to be on that side. Well, he would flip a scene and then they'd be opposite. I'm like, dude, stop. He's like, yeah, but I really wanted to. No, I didn't ask you to do that. Draw this. So that happens now and then. But for the most part, the artist we have right now, Gabriel, is really into it. And he grew up watching, can't remember the name, but basically it was like this, the Brazilian version of Zorro and Pirates. So when we're like, hey, we're drawing pirates, he's like, yes, I can do this. So it's kind of cool. And that's the cool part too, is we're not drawing the typical, it's not a superhero comic, and it's not a giant TNA comic.
And that's a big difference, right? Like, and I know Gabriel because I work with Ethereal,
Mhm.
so knowing what he can do and pull out, I mean, and he does a lot of artwork, like a lot at a
Yeah.
time too. Like, I'll see 5 or 6 pages at a time, and I'm like, how? It's a 24-page book, dude. How long is it going to take you to get? Oh, give me a month. I'm like, a month. I'm like, dude, that's kind of crazy, you know. Um, but then sometimes it's been 2 months, 3 months, just
Yep.
depends on what happens. And I enjoy his artwork, I really do. So I'm glad you guys snagged him for Ninja Witch.
That's a challenge with some artists and some creatives. They agree to a timeline or agree to a workload, and then they don't deliver it, and you're trying to pressure them. And you don't want to be like the asshole who's like, hey, you have to do this. But
Yeah,
you have to come in and say, hey, look, you agreed to do this. We're behind. I need you to step your shit up.
yep,
And I'm not just talking Gabriel. I'm talking like a lot of
in
creatives.
general, yeah,
Hey, we have a cover due. And we tell people, like, you got 5-6 months out. Like, the people are already working on covers for book 4. And we're like, we need them by 1 September so we can put them all together so we can have them ready for the October campaign.
yeah.
And I guarantee we're going to get to September 4th and somebody's like, hey, when do you want this? 3 days ago, dumbass. Like, it's going to happen. So, and that dumbass is usually me because I didn't do for this campaign, I didn't do the cover until like 3 weeks after I told everybody else to have them done.
And that was when you decided you wanted to do like the traditional colors too. So that took like 3 times as long.
Well, only
You're the hardest one to work with, I find.
only 2 covers on this campaign are digital.
Yeah.
Out of all 10. One was done by Courtney Rose and Nick Capone did the colors. And then we got a free cover, which was kind of cool. Hedwin Zaldivar
Oh, everyone's good.
but he drew it and colored it.
It's
right?
really cool.
So we have 2 covers, but everything else is analog.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, right? So, and then like even this one, this will be one of the covers. It won't have this, so I'll actually say it in English and all. But I did this all on marker and color pencil. And what's cool is this is the only cover we have that doesn't have NinjaWitch on it. But that dragon has a major thing to do with the story. So now it's like, good luck. You guys got to read it to figure out why the hell I drew a dragon on there.
Well, I can't wait. So the question is, will that be a pearl cover? Pearl linen cover?
Well, right now I can tell you that there's going to be a hollow foil cover of it. And there will be a standard cover in the initial offering. How's that?
I like that.
Okay.
What
happens in week 2, 3, and 4? I won't tell you yet.
Yeah, because I'm a huge sucker for pearl linen. I love that. Like anybody that sells that, like Ebass will do it, Don will do it. I'm like, dude, I'm just taking my money. Let's go. Because I love the texture of it.
When we were down at Swornfest, we got to tour the print place there, and got to see.
They're right there.
Huh? What? Oh yeah, we got to see all the different papers that they have, and I'm just like, oh, I want this one, and I want this one, and I want this one, and I want to see what this one looks like. So we did a lot. We got a lot of test pages.
So
it was fun.
I took 4 images from book 2 and book 1.
Yeah, book
I mixed them up, and we did tests. So like this one is a it's hard to see it. It's pearl, but there's actually 3-dimensional swirls all over the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then like this one, you can kind of see it's all leather.
Yeah, the
right?
leather.
So that's leather. This one's a satin.
Show the whole.
This one, I will. We got a cool soft pearl. Silver metallic. A hollow foil test.
The lava hollow foil.
Yep. This one was just messes with your depth perception.
Yeah, that spot kind of.
Yep. This one's the pixel hollow foil. But we picked them to see how that works with different things. Crystal hollow foil. This one is confetti hollow foil, so it's a lot tighter.
Mm.
This one's kind of cool. This is a magma.
See, I like that one.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then this one is an ethnic leather, so it feels like snakeskin.
See, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. Like
See, I wanted to do the dragon one and something like that. So I had the dragon had like the
scales and stuff. I can do that.
I don't want to spoil everything.
We didn't have to say anything. I forgot.
So yes, will the dragon be on the ethnic leather? Yes.
Yes. See, and
it'll be a one-off.
Oopsie whoopsie.
That's okay. Hey, nobody's watching right now, so we're good, right? But somebody will watch it. They'll message me tomorrow. Hey, what about that leather one? Because nobody does leather hardly ever, right? Like I picked up Michael DePascal's last cover, which is on the leather for Prismatic.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen a leather done in years, like years and years.
Yeah.
Since the old Avatar days.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, somebody bring leather back, bring these things. Like, it's kind of like when we were in the 90s, right? As kids, it's like when you get all these chromium covers, all these hollow foil covers.
Yeah.
Like X-Men,
Wildcats. Yeah. Youngblood. Yeah.
Deathmate came out with 8,000 covers.
Yeah. So speaking of covers, like some of the things we're going to be doing is when we do book 5 next spring, you will also be able to get a mega omnibus, which will be like, I think we says like 295 pages, 300 pages. So you'll get all 50 something covers in it. You'll get behind the scenes, like my character development sketches and pencil sketches will be in there. We'll have a cool like folding map that shows like the world of NinjaWitch. You'll get all the stories in it. You'll get some extra stuff kind of thrown in there, but it'll be a hardcover only, no soft cover.
Thank you.
So you'll get that, and then like you'll get the ash can. Working on a bunch of other little cool things to go in there. We're also working on what was I going to say? Just like the trick. Oh, like in this new book that's coming out, we try to make like your unlocks pretty cool things. Like this one, we have coasters. Yeah, but they're high end. They're really nice. And that's the logo that's on her belt.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we like to throw little freebies in there and add stuff, you know. So there may or may not be a surprise in this book when they get their package. There may or may not be. What's that?
I like surprises.
Right, because at the end of the day, we have fun with this, but the reality is we could make this book and write it and whatever, but to be able to share it and have people actually buy it, there's so many different campaigns out there. So the fact that they are saying, I'm going to take my money and spend it on your book and donate it to your book, I think that what a lot of stores and companies and publishers forget is you're making it for yourself, but you're making it for the people who are following you. You have to appreciate them for them to appreciate you. You know, and at the end of the day, the thing that we're going to be adding to this one, it costs money out of our pocket, obviously, but we think it's really fun money that's well spent to give back. You know what I mean? So,
because you're investing. You're not just investing in your story and your book. You're investing into a community, right? And that's the difference, right? When you invest into, I mean, I've known you for a long time. You know I'm going to support you guys. But when you're bringing new people on, right? Like when you bring somebody outside of our scope of friends that usually always buy, right? When you get those new customers in and then they start telling the story to their friends and you start getting their friends and then your community gets bigger and bigger, and then people are going to understand that there's a huge story to this too as well. You know, you can bring people in with artwork. Artwork's always going to sell, right? Like that's going to be the thing. Like you bring the names in, DeBalfo, Courtney Rose, you know, the other guys, Joel Gomez, Headwind. You bring those people in, everybody knows who they are. They know, they know their covers, they know what they do. So that brings in a lot of other people who might not normally read it, right? Especially like the Gomez, right? Like the Gomez fanatics are a whole different breed of people. We're kind of crazy like that. But
and he'll be back in book 4.
Exactly. See, and that's what we love about it, is that it's going to build a community to where it'll always be around, right? And when your book gets to say issue 20, issue 30, right?
That'll be crazy.
That would be crazy, right? But it'll get there, as long as the fan base is there. And so to keep the fan base happy, little things like pens and coasters and things like that, free books here and there, that really sells it to people that they're invested in what we think too about the book.
Yeah, well, and it's quality stuff too, right? I mean, if you look at the NinjaWitch pen, I don't even have one up here.
Really?
I don't know.
No.
Come on now.
Well, they're all downstairs. Anyway, but they're quality. They're actual metal. They're not, and it's engraved in it. It's not
printed
picture.
It's not one of these with something just written on it. They cost us a little bit, but we want people to have something that's quality. So when they have it, it's not something just to throw out or whatever. We're eventually going to add some trade cards. We started designing book 4. There's going to be a coin.
Oh yeah.
And different levels and stuff like that. And then like in book 1, I randomly added the black and white comic to a couple people's stuff. We did the blank sketch cover and I drew on it and we just stuck it in somebody's thing and said thank you. On this last one, 2 people randomly got the messenger bags.
Yeah.
As hey, thanks. And it's kind of cool when you get and you're like, wait, what the hell? This box is bigger than I don't know what it's books. And you open it and there's a messenger bag with a handwritten note. Thanks for your support. Enjoy your free bag.
Oh yeah.
So we'll do that. And then speaking of artists, who we got in book 4 that you're excited about?
Oh my gosh, yeah, Mike Chrome.
Oh, you got Mikey. Mikey gets a lot of my money just like you do.
Yeah, he's already started working on it. It's
I am so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and then we got Todd McFarlane doing one. No, I'm joking. I don't have the money for
Todd. I wasn't going to believe that one. That's a pretty stretch.
But the thing is, like the people we have doing it, Bella Racklin did book 1. She's got 2 on this one, and then she signed on to be a permanent cover artist. So she's gonna be featured on every one. Joel's coming back for book 4. Moog will be on book 4 because when we started with Moog, we signed a 4-book contract with her.
Okay.
So book 5 may or may not be on there.
But we brought Courtney Rose back too. She did book 1.
She did book 1. We brought her back. Last book, she did a print. So we tried something different with Brittany Jackson last time. Didn't really go over well. Jen Leonard did a really cool one. The Buffalo did one in the first one. This one, we were at a show in
Renton.
October, I think it was.
Yeah.
And this guy was around the corner and he had some really cool watercolor pieces, and I picked up a Prince, the Magician print. And I talked to her and I showed him some stuff, and she went and checked his stuff out. And I was like, I think we should talk to him. And because he had already came to us and talked about like, how do you get into this? Because he knew who I was, which was kind of bizarre. Surreal. It always just strikes me odd when people are like, oh my God, you're so-and-so. But I went over to him and I said, hey, we're going to give you a shot. Here's how it works. I sent him the stuff.
Because he hadn't done any covers before.
He did one.
For indie. Yeah.
Some indie guy. Yes. Yeah. A friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing.
Mhm.
I liked a very particular piece he did of an elf, and I said, "Can you do this style? Here's the character. Here's everything. Sign the contract." He sent us 3 thumbnails, and I said, we looked at them. I said, if we take this one and we add a skull behind it, if we take this one and change this, and we take this one and change this. So I wrote him a letter and said, hey, we're going to pay you for all 3, not one. We're going to do all 3 of yours. And you have to change this, this, and this and do it. And then he was like, what? So we went through, and as he was working on it, I was like, there's a little off here. So the art direction he took really well. So his name is James Doppelhammer. That's the one we just released.
Oh yeah, I saw the picture. Yeah,
it's all watercolor.
He blew it out of work.
Yeah, he did fantastic. And he did 2 of them are actually scenes from the book. So like that bear, you may or may not see that in the book. So it's kind of cool to find other artists. And for me, that is one of the coolest parts as a creative myself, being able to see other people who can do it. And just like Polito gave me a chance and Max Takara, and it's just reaching out and saying, okay, give it a shot. We do have some artists who will reach out and they send us stuff. And I'm like, well, you have to redraw XYZ, and they get pissy about it. And I had one guy, he was like, what do you know about drawing? I know a thing or two.
Or they'll come with us and like all of a sudden it's just like tits out, and we're just like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Ass cheeks hanging out all over the place. And
no.
Like we specifically write, it's not a sexualized character.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you see sometimes from the neck up, but mostly this is all you see of her. There's a reason for that, because we're going to develop the character and you're going to understand the character. So like book 1, right? When they're fighting the kaiju, and then she walks through the portal and she's like, time to end this. Like there's a purpose for her showing up. So, but it's really cool to see the art. We brought Nick Capone back to do colors. He did the colors on book 1. And I'll say this out in public. Nick's a fellow guy from Jersey, so he doesn't care. We had some challenges on book 1 and getting stuff done in time, and came back and I said, here's the deal. We'll give you another shot. Don't fuck it up. And he's been, every time he gets the pages in from Gabriel, he's turning around, he's cranking them out, and they're just dropping into the drop box. And then I'll go through and I'll look, I'm like, hey, can you change the color? And he's like, yeah, too easy. So it's been really cool to work with that. And Nick's done some of my other stuff. So he knows what I want and what Amy's looking for too.
But what's been nice though is we haven't really come across any like people working with us, any like egos. Like he'll be like, no, not really. Have we?
I'm just trying to think.
Because he'll come back and be like, hey, this needs to be changed, whatever. And they're like, all right. And they go and change it.
No, we had in book 1, we had a couple. No, actually not in book 1. In the original book.
Well, that's why we're not doing that anymore. That's why
they were writing stuff, and I was like, draw this. Well, it's not hard. It's not easy to draw this. I'm like, it's fucking easy here. And I sketched it.
Okay. Or couldn't color in all black.
Yeah. How do you color a costume that's all black? I was like, shades of gray, dumbass.
Exactly. So
but that's why we're no longer
do that.
I'd love to. Eventually, we'll share some pages because we own the rights to it. So in the omnibus, we'll probably show what she could have been. Here's where she's at now.
I hated everything about that one. I hated everything about it.
Honestly, if that one had gone to print, we wouldn't be sitting here today talking about it.
No.
It wouldn't have made it.
But would you ever release it though? Would you ever release it as, say, an add-on or as something? Or is it so bad that
so bad?
It's Plan 9 from outer space, my friend.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like not only the art, but like the story itself was just, it was cringy.
It didn't.
Super
It didn't meet
cringe.
who she was.
Mm.
Um,
They took their interpretation of what it should have been and morphed it into what they wanted, not
yeah,
what
and
was
they
actually
made like her interactions with Belladonna like a comedy trope, and
Yeah.
it felt more like a Batman and Robin with Adam West and Burt Ward, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Well, they had her at one point coming out, like she was on the 30-something floor of a building, coming out of the elevator and ready to fight in a super sexy pose. I'm like, first of all, why is her cape flying? She's on the 30-something floor. Her cape should not be flying with ass cheeks hanging out. No.
So I mean, now to be fair to the people who are doing it, all their other books are TNA books. So when we're saying don't do TNA, I don't think they knew how to do it.
Yeah. Well, because they said what that sells.
And
this is what we know what sells. TNA sells.
I have an email from one of them that said, "Good luck on not having TNA and good luck doing it yourself." And I was like,
Game on.
I've been doing this for a
Challenge
while.
accepted.
And then, well, the other part was they were talking about it, and they're like, well, you know, if you can bring in $3,500 on your first book, it's good. And we did 13,000. So we're like, all right, I think we're doing it okay. And we grew 20% on backers. Our numbers went up 20% from book 1 to book 2, and we went up 15.5% on sales. So our goal for book 3 is 150 backers is our goal. So eventually it'll be 200 or whatever, but we're not at the Brian Pulido 2,000 backers.
Yeah, the $300,000. You know.
Yeah, but you can't, like, people compare themselves with him, and there's certain publishers out there who are like, well, this guy's doing this, and yeah, but it took him from 2015 to now to get there. And then we're not ashamed. When we started book 1, I sent Brian a very nice email. Brian and I consider him a friend, and wrote him an email and said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I have an idea, but I don't know what I'm doing. Would you be willing to mentor us? And he's like, I'll give you 30 minutes. Come ready. And we jumped on, and we were like, what about this? And he's super frank. He doesn't hold back. He
like, gives so much good information.
Though. Yeah. And our first book was going to be like 120 pages. He's like,
yeah.
I think without saying the F word, he was like, are you out of your fucking mind? He's like, absolutely not. He goes, people don't care whether it's this many or this many. This is what you do. Here's how much you sell it for. Split that up into 3 other chapters. Don't, like, we were going to throw the whole farm into one book. He's like, spread it out. You know, the people's focus isn't going to be there. And then he told us, you know, when you write the book, end it like this. Do it like this. And we're like, okay. And he's like, when you do your campaign, here's how much you ask for it. Here's how you do this.
Yeah, he helped us with the Kickstarter.
We basically took the Brian Pulido blueprint of Kickstarters and are building it that way, and slowly tweaking it and moving it and paying attention. And what's really cool is there's a scene in this book. No, it's not giving it away. That when people in Sworn Nation read it, they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, you're treading into Brian Pulido's waters, and you're doing stuff that's you shouldn't be doing and all." No, we wrote them and said, "Here's what we want to do in a scene. How do you feel about this? Here's how it is. Here's the script, everything." And he's like, cool. I mean, that was his answer. Do it. We're like, yes, we got his blessing. So now when people read this and they're like, holy shit, you know, that's a Brian Pulido thing. And if anybody says something, yeah, he told me I could.
Brian said you could do it. You're good.
Yeah. Which is the biggest thing when it comes to some of these places, right? Is if you do it right and you ask people and you treat people with respect, and like I've done covers for Brian, and he would say, like I need 8 thumbnails by such and such. Well, I deliver the thumbnails a week early. And then he's like, I need the book by, let's say, August 1st, right? June, I'm delivering pencils. Like, there's no way I'm coming close to being not hitting a deadline for certain people. And the cool part with Brian and I is he really gave me a chance, right? And there's you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Brian Polito is a great guy. He knows what he's doing. He's a great marketeer. He's a great businessman. He tells good stories, and he's got the energy that people follow that energy. So we're going to mimic that to a degree, and that's why when we're doing adding the giveaways, like we have stickers on the book, on the packaging, like you see the coffin stickers, right?
Yep.
We make stickers that says fragile, don't fuck this up, right? Because if it works, why would I go to somebody who does a Kickstarter for $5,000 and listen to what they have to say versus the guy who does 400,000?
Correct. I mean, he's got the bread pudding, right? Like he knows how to make these work,
Yeah.
And a lot of us have been supporting. That's kind of, I'm not going to say a lot of us are kind of feeling the fatigue of Kickstarters now because there's so many, and you want to be a good friend and support everybody, but you can't because A, we're not all rich, but B, when they do it the way they're doing it and you get more out of it like that, right? Like you have those little freebies, you have like the coffin cauldron, right? Where he picks people to get free stuff.
Yep.
You do little nuance, like that is what keeps you entertained and keeps you coming back and coming back and coming back. Like, and that's kind of like how mine is, right? Like when I'm going to support things, I look at it from what am I getting out of this Kickstarter? 1, 2, does it support the actual people that I'm actually supporting, right? Like, does it help the artist out? Does it help the writers out? And 3, will it bring me back the next time it comes around, right? And like, there's been some, like, I've had some good ones and I've had some very crappy ones. Hell, I still have stuff from Absolute that I still haven't got after 2 years, right? A lot of us are in that same boat, right? We all thought about that, right? And it's like, we never thought it would be the way it is, but some things happen like that. And it's like, there's nothing you can do about it, but hurry up and wait. But at least like we know with you guys, you're always spot on. And here's the one thing that I like the most from y'all, communication, right? Like you guys are always telling us, like, hey, what's going on? And if there was something late, you would tell us, and that's the thing. You can't become a ghost in a Kickstarter land. That just alienates you from everybody. So I appreciate what you guys do.
Well, we appreciate that feedback. And the other thing is like, we deliver quick, this one, we're actually planning on ordering the books before the Kickstarter is done, so that when the Kickstarter is done, we're already packing. So the day that Kickstarter releases the funds to us, the stuff's going out. The only reason we can't send it beforehand is, somebody their money
out.
Well, their account's empty or whatever. But like our goal is to have it shipped in 15 days from the end of the campaign. Like who does that?
There's only one person I know that does that today.
Right.
And that's Carissa Grant with Worthy Chaos.
Yeah.
And she ships it out the next week because she's already had it printed out and she's already working on the next Kickstarter for the next book.
Yeah.
And it's like, now granted, right, her the way of doing things will catch up eventually, right? Like you can't keep that cadence all the time, like every month or every other month. You got to kind of spread that out so you don't burn yourself out too.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we're 2 books a year. We're working on, actually, it's due tomorrow. I sent out test pages to an artist, and if that comes through, then Ruby's Raiders will be started. So next year we can have another title added. And then it's the balance, right? I have this one here. I have this one. I have to drop it in the middle here because I don't want people to have, to your point, the Kickstarter fatigue, right?
But we also too many. Yeah, we don't want too many Kickstarters. We don't want to be that where people are, can we get this one?
We basically have 3 titles that we want to do. One of them's kind of iffy, but actually 4 titles technically. So we have NinjaWitch, which is Amy's bread and butter. Ruby's Raiders is the Ruby is the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think of Mad Max and Waterworld put together, all taking place in the sky with steampunk ships and everything, but they also have dragons and like there's laser technology all together. That's Ruby's Raiders, and it follows Scarlet and stuff. The other one we have is called Motorcycle Monks, and Monks is Munks. And it's basically a bunch of kids from around the world, and you can constantly change the children, but they all misbehave. They get sent to this monastery, and because they're not performing well, they get turned into chipmunks. So they're animorphed, full-size chipmunks riding motorcycles, and each motorcycle represents their persona. So, and then they have a like a Jiminy Cricket kind of character who follows them. So, and then I have Ninja Werewolf. Which basically, if you were to think about it, think feudal Japan, bunch of warring parties, and they realize that as you kill another warlord, you absorb their powers. But there should be a balance of good versus evil. But if a bad warlord kills a good warlord, they get it and they get stronger on evil, but there's less good in the world, right? Mm-hmm. So as they have the battle, this dog is there defending his master at the castle, and he's trying to defend it, and this ninja turns around and bites the dog, and then as the dog's wounded and all, the master touches him and puts this like magic in him. Well, now when the new moon comes out instead of a full moon, the dog turns into a ninja.
Ah, okay.
So it's like a reverse, right? So you got these giant, because a dog is naked, so when he becomes a ninja, they're like naked ninjas running around. They have to stage themselves and they have to bite other dogs to like grow the ninja force. Anyway,
and you've been working on that title since what, high school?
No, that one I came up with on my first honeymoon because I was bored. She was
okay. That kind of tells a different story, right? Like,
yeah, she was 8.5 months pregnant and sleeping, and I was sitting on the balcony, and I literally watched a little dog was running around. This little dog was running around chasing it, and I was like, "What if the dog was a ninja?" And I just came up with the story. But no, Motorcycle Monks I started back in 1989.
So high school. That one was high school.
That was high school.
All right.
That was 1989. I wrote Motorcycle Monks. It was like my answer to Ninja Turtles because it's like.
But see, that reminds me of Alvin and the Chipmunks, though.
Biker
Mars. It's but they're not small. They're full size.
Alvin and the Chipmunks weren't in the original cartoons. It wasn't until these movies that they made them.
I'm talking like these are like the chipmunks that drive the Kias.
Yeah, the old Kia commercial from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember that.
What?
I don't.
They have all
that was out everywhere.
I'll look later.
No, you got to do it now.
Oh, you got to see it though. It's like when you have Biker Mice from Mars, right? You remember that cartoon from the 90s, yes. Right? It's like giant, these badass like mice that were from Mars that rode bikes in the U.S. and they would just tear up stuff all day long.
I don't know that one.
What the fuck?
Come on. That's a classic commercial though.
Oh, for the ugly Kia cars.
Mm-hmm.
You with that.
Right. I remember that now.
Yeah, so anyway, they're that size, but they're all like, so like one of them is like really sporty, so he's got like a GSR, and another one's like this, oh, well, I'm going to do it this way. And he's got a Harley kind of bike. And so their bikes match their personas. So
who's got the crotch rocket then?
It's going to have to be a female one. No, because like you have to have like a balance, like the way the.
Well, why does she have to have the crotch rocket?
Because she's fast and she's in charge. She's going to be the leader.
Oh, nice try. She's
And
gonna
she's
get
gonna
you
wear
later.
red.
Oh, now you're just trying to suck up.
She's wearing green.
There you go.
Oh my god.
I meant to ask you. I didn't see the finalized version of the goblin that you were doing with Amy that night on Artist.
Oh, he hasn't finished it, but oh my god, I'm waiting. I love her so much. He ended up
You didn't get to redo it?
yeah, he has to redo it still.
So I was using a thinner paper. It was over there. So I was using a thinner paper. So the red bled onto the table here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was moving the green over it, when the alcohol from the green went through, it pulled the red up through the body. So I have it over there. Before I do that one, I have to color a rogue piece for Tony Anderson.
Okay.
I have to do that one. It's got a sentinel head, but it's basically the rogue laying down, but it's from the front.
Yeah.
I have to do that one, and then I have a couple of covers I got to work on.
But when he finishes the ogre lady,
it's going in the sewing room.
It's going in my sewing room, but we will post it.
Nice.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
Well,
I love her.
The thing that was fun with that is it's not a typical one
I would
that people
cosplay
do.
her. I would cosplay her.
So I was actually thinking today, like I like going on Instagram and watching like different painters and drawers and artists and stuff. And I used to do traditional like oil paints and stuff. So I did a drawing and it's in one of my things. It's a giant rhinoceros. And then on it is like this seat. And there's like a 30 caliber water cooled machine gun and a chimpanzee wearing an 1812 British outfit with a pith helmet shooting the machine gun while he's riding the rhino. Like,
where was that?
Here. I drew this in 2014, and I just think it'll be a cool fucking painting.
That would be a cool painting.
I got the idea from Jumanji. I was
I
like,
can tell.
what if the monkeys were riding around on rhinos and that was their armor and they could shoot all this stuff? And like he's got the British outfit on with a little pith helmet and stuff. So anyway, I might buy some canvas and like actually paint this for fun. But that's a down the road kind of thing.
Because he still owes me a painting as well.
As long as we're married, you'll...
See, and that's the thing, right? You've got free art for the rest of your life.
You would think,
Yeah.
but no.
I'll tell you what. I'll put it on the list, but you got to let me buy the $170 Ecto one that I don't have, the little one that's retired.
You already promised me this painting, sir.
Yeah, but I didn't tell you when. So can we negotiate here?
Not with that. It has to be something else.
Like what?
Because you've already promised me that one.
You've promised me I could buy Lego.
No, I did not.
Oh, you did.
That's what I'm saying. But if you want to move it up, you promised me something. You got to pay. All my paid art gets put on the list.
You never told me I had to pay. You just said, "Hey,
we were
I'm
dating.
going to do this for you."
Yeah, I'll still do it for you. But if
we were dating, he was trying to look good.
No, I drew a picture. Hey, actually, while you're bullshitting, I drew a picture of her as Wonder Woman on a cover.
Yeah, but I never asked you for that.
Right. That's my point. When you keep hounding me,
You offered up.
I'll do it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know how a mechanic's car is the last one to work, right?
Plumber, marry a plumber. Your plumbing's always broken. Yeah.
Yep. Oh well. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do it before I put together the Star Destroyer.
Okay.
Which version of the Star Destroyer did you get?
The Ultimate.
Oh yeah.
And I have the Millennium Falcon out there too. My AT-AT broke on the move, so I got to put that back together. But over here, I have right back here behind Amy. I have a whole Hoth battle scene. You know the big Lego plates?
Yep.
There's 12 of them. So it's a pretty big battle scene. So I have Echo Base and I have snow speeders and ATSTs and like 9 tauntauns and about 200 snow troopers, and I don't know. It's just Lego.
Lots of Lego.
I might have a small addiction.
Nah, I mean, look at this.
Yeah,
I mean, this is 30 years in the making.
yeah, so, yeah. So out that door goes to the Star Wars room, and it's like the video game room also. So we got 250-inch TVs with the PlayStation and Gabe's Nintendo connected, so we can do like Fortnite together and all. But it's got all the comics out there, all the Lady Death stuff.
Our wall of weaponry.
Yeah, we have a wall of like 5 swords on it, and then we have battle axes. And yeah, you're not robbing us. We got guns and swords. And then we have a katana, and then we have all the NinjaWitch stuff across the whole thing. So yeah, the house is pretty nerded up. And then like over here, this is Amy got it for me. It's Maximus's helmet from Gladiator, but it's custom to my size.
They had to get a big one, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
They said what size? I said giant.
She
got a giant.
She said, "How big's a watermelon?" But it's all.
Oh yeah.
And then it's cool because they put the leather on the inside.
Yeah, so it protects your noggin.
Made in England. England's finest.
But it's perfect.
Yeah.
I should drive down the highway in this.
You should.
You hurt yourself.
In the Corvette. And then see if anybody wants to race.
You wouldn't fit.
You should do it.
This would not fit in the Corvette.
This is so sharp right here.
Yeah.
You know, like the front of like Kiowa Warriors and stuff, they had that little thing that cut this I could run through wire and just cut it.
You might be taking a big chance with that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fucking heavy, but it's Gladiator is my all-time favorite movie. Like, I have it on DVD, CD. Blu-ray. I got it downloaded. I got a Blu-ray. I got it memorized. I mean, we play the music all the time. So.
And now my son loves it.
Good.
Favorite movies.
See, that was like a golden age for action movies. Like when you had Braveheart and Gladiator, and like those are the good ones. And then now it's like everything's Ocean's 13 or whatever Jason Statham is in. Like I try to watch Expendables, and I'm like, okay, when I got to the 4th one, I'm like, okay, this is enough.
I like it because they're stupid. But her son's name, my son, is named from the Patriot. So we have Gabriel.
Yep.
So
I loved Heath Ledger in that, and so I was like, okay, my son has to be Gabriel. Had to name him Gabriel.
That's when Mel Gibson was still doing good.
Yeah, before he got crazy.
Yeah.
So, or before he got enlightened. I don't know. One of the two.
I can't tell. I haven't seen a good movie since then from him. So.
Oh, what's the one with Who's Your Daddy? Daddy's Home or whatever? When he's Mark Wahlberg's dad, and then John Lithgow is Will Ferrell's dad.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. It's
Daddy's
hilarious.
Home. Both Daddy's Home are pretty good, but yeah,
Daddy's Home too.
2 is pretty good with Mel Gibson and John Lithgow.
It's funny, like you say Lithgow, and nobody probably knows who that is under the age of 40.
I would
probably
agree.
I love him. I think he's hilarious.
I don't. Maybe if they watch the more recent Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh yeah.
Well, because he's the reason for Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
If he didn't have dementia, James Franco wouldn't have tried to develop that cure.
Right.
Correct.
So
I just think he's hilarious.
Oh, Third Rock was awesome.
Third Rock was good. Him being the crazy guy in Dexter was good.
Yeah, and then Harry and the Hendersons.
Footloose. He was in Footloose. What? It's a great movie.
No. No. Do you see anything behind Nathan that would indicate that he cares about Footloose? Look, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Bride of Frankenstein, Transformers.
I see Kevin Bacon right there. Okay.
No, that's just bacon. That's leftover from breakfast.
Exactly.
Actually, the only thing Kevin Bacon was good in was Tremors.
Tremors.
It was great in Footloose, sir.
Tremors.
Tremors. It was just sad that he didn't come back for the second one.
Yeah. You're not going to win that. So.
Some other chicks on here, they'll agree with me.
Tremors.
Yep. This is a nerd channel. So guess what? Tremors is always going to win.
Yep. So.
Yeah, because pretty much everything I have is horror based, pretty much. You know, we watch a lot of that, and my kids are starting to get indoctrinated now. So,
okay.
So I told them, I said, you know, when you turn 13, we'll actually watch a real horror movie. Right now, it's kind of the pansy kind of stuff.
Yeah, my son thinks he can watch something, and I'm like,
have you seen my Pennywise drawing poster?
No.
It's actually pretty cool.
Is it Richard Curry Pennywise or is it Skarsgård?
Skarsgård. But he had it on a metal print. They completely sold out, but it was really cool in metal.
And canvas.
In canvas.
So these are the only two real horror ones I've done. I've done this one.
Yeah, I remember that one. I wanted that one. You were sold out the last time. See, I like that.
So
it's
that's
really
like,
cool in metal.
But this is like my point, right? When people are like, "Can you draw tits and ass?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can." They're like, "Can you draw something not?"
Yep.
Yes, I can.
Like my mother.
And this one on metal, yes, I can draw your mother.
No, I'm saying
that's
my
where
mom.
You said it.
My
Can I
mom,
draw anything else that's not tits and ass? Yes, my mom.
No, because my mom said all you drew were boobs.
Yes. So, but on the metal, the eyes down here, they glow. It's super cool. I'll tell you. You know what, Nate? We'll throw these into a thing and send them off to you, man.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, you know me. I'm a huge horror guy, and it's always has been. You know, especially the old NECA stuff. I still collect that stuff in McFarlane.
So we tried to watch Hellraiser, and then so a friend of mine did all the makeup and stuff on the new Hellraiser. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't get into it. It's certain ones because when you watch them in the 80s, like we watched not Friday the 13th, we watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and the first one. And when I watched it now, I was like,
yeah,
it's like, you know what I mean? Like, but when I watched it in 1984 and I was 11, I was like, what the F? You know what I mean? And now you watch it and you're like, ugh, like, how is that scary? You know, it's just, I don't know. It's different, but like now that we like her favorite movie is The Witch.
The Witch is good. Yeah.
We just went and saw Abigail.
How was that one?
We loved it.
We loved it.
I've been wanting to see it.
Have you seen Violent Night?
Yep.
Same vibe, right? You watch it and you see the trailer, like, oh yeah, she's a vampire. But what you don't understand is how she got there, why, and then what. And then there's just enough humor and there's just enough, oh shit, I never saw something like that made you sit there and. But there was not a single point in that movie where I was like, is this going to be done yet? And she had to go take a leak and stayed to watch the movie because she didn't want to miss it.
Take a leak.
She had to go piss. What do you say?
I had to pee.
I had to use the loo.
The loo.
The loo. I use the loo.
No, I don't say loo.
Oh. I had
Not British.
I had to... I don't know.
Anyway,
but
it was so good. Like I'm like I didn't have to go. So, I mean, I had to go, but I held it.
That one, Troll Hunter.
Ooh, those Scandinavians. My God,
Google the one with the woods.
Okay, but those Scandinavians.
And then the last one we saw was There's Something in the Barn.
Something in the Barn, yeah, I've heard of that one. Not seen it. I've got it. See,
it'll be on your Christmas list.
So good.
So for me,
one of our holiday classics
we actually like that better than Violent Night.
Yeah. So good.
Except for what I have to do is I don't get to go to the theater because of the kids. You know, so a lot of time.
It's downloadable. You can.
Yeah, but by the time I'm ready to watch something, it's 10:30 at night, and guess what? When you get past 40, you're kind of like getting tired.
I stay up late.
Well, and usually I stay up till 11, and
I
then
think
I'm
my
done.
challenge is like when I stay up late though, if I'm actively working on something, I
Yeah.
lose track of the time until all of a sudden I'm drawing the line and I see 4 lines. I'm like, oh, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah. See, my problem is I have to be back at work at 6 in the morning.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, if I don't go to bed by 12, I'm not good.
Yeah,
And
she works at 6 in the morning.
Viking Wolf, wasn't that one of the other ones?
we
No,
didn't
no,
watch-
no, no, no,
No.
Yeah, that was the wolf one.
Was that called Viking
I
Wolf?
think that was
No, I
Man
think it
Wolf?
was Viking Wolf.
Yeah, it was. It's
Viking Wolf.
Seriously,
Viking.
the Scandinavians, they are doing so. They are like killing the movie game right now.
It's almost like if NinjaWitch became it, we would want somebody from there to direct it.
Yeah, absolutely. Troll.
Troll. That was it.
No, that was the troll one. Your which one are we wanting to look? Oh,
The one where
it's almost like a
they're in the
Wendigo.
woods and there's a giant Wendigo. But so these people go hiking and one guy gets hurt because they're celebrating the guy who was drunk and got killed.
Mm.
So they go on like this kumbaya trip together, and they end up getting lost in these woods. And they, I don't want to tell you any more than that, but at the end of it, you're like, yeah,
The ritual.
yeah, you're like,
The
yeah,
Ritual? I've seen the
going
Ritual. Yeah.
yeah.
That's good.
You're like, I'm not going to the woods. I'm good right here.
Yeah. It's like,
So,
have you seen Never Hike Alone?
no, put that on. the
So,
list.
so Never Hike Alone is good.
And then we watched the Lord Misrule.
Okay.
Lord of Misrule. Yeah, I liked
That was
one.
weird. It had
I liked it because it was different.
well, it had a very witch feel. Gretel and Hansel was horrible.
Yeah, no. I tried that. I think I got about 20 minutes in. I stopped watching.
I was so disappointed because I had such high hopes for that. Because the witch looked super cool when she was like in her witchy state, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, what the heck are we?
Well, when
watching
they had
right
the
now?
giant swimming pool or whatever it was, and they had to climb out, and it became like super artsy. I'm like,
Wait, what was the one that I needed to write down?
don't hike alone.
Never Hike Alone.
Never hike alone.
So it's on YouTube.
It's right there next. Buy your husband the Ecto one.
Yeah.
So what happened is they bring back Tommy Wallace. So Tommy Jarvis, that was in Friday the 13th, right?
Yeah.
They bring him back, and they
Okay.
actually have him in Never Hike Alone, and they continue the Friday the 13th story.
Gotcha. Okay.
So professionally made and everything.
Nice.
And then there's another one too. Let me see what it is. Did you ever watch Black Christmas a long time
Yes.
ago?
Mhm.
So there's another movie called It's Me Billy, and so It's Me Billy is the continuation of Black Christmas, and they
Okay.
bring back the original Billy
Okay.
from the first one. It's really good too.
We what?
We watched this last Christmas the
Krampus.
Krampus movie.
Krampus is good.
With
I like that one,
that was
too.
weird.
I liked it.
It was good. It was great. We also watched Dude, They Clone Tyrone.
I haven't seen that one.
I don't think it started with the dude.
Or They Clone Tyrone or whatever. But that was
was
out
weird.
there. What was the one where the guy had the house, the rental house, and had the witch? And then the girl and the guy ended up at the Airbnb together by mistake.
What?
There was an Airbnb, and the one guy was like, the lady was at night. She got there, and there was that giant witch that had to chase him. But the guy from Justin, whatever his name was, he was
Right.
like the guy from remember the Mac guy and the Apple guy.
He's
Yeah.
from Jeepers Creepers. too.
Yeah. So
And Dodgeball.
right,
Dodgeball.
and Dodgeball.
Oh yeah, that
Anyway,
one.
he's in this thing and he ends up and he's a total asshole, but there's like this random house in the middle of this place, and they end up in the same, they rented it together at the same time and this shit just starts happening. You're going way too far back.
Well, but
It should
up
be in
here,
order.
it's not.
Oh, wait,
in order.
wait. It's this one.
Not barbarian. Barbarian, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Barbarian.
it's barbarian.
It's not this one.
Shut up.
Barbarian.
Barbarian.
Barbarian. Okay.
Yeah,
Skarsgård's
and Bill
in it, too.
Skarsgård's in it.
Okay, so I'll put down the. I like him. What do you think about the trailer from the Crow remake with him in it?
I'm gonna watch it. I think I'm gonna go and pretend that I never watched it and I never read the comics. I'm just gonna go and have a good time. they could have gotten away and got people to stop bitching if they just didn't make it Eric Drebin.
Yes.
Right? Because Eric takes place in a very specific part of the time. So if you just say, because the Crow can be with anybody.
Anybody. It's an
right?
entity.
Yeah. So all they had to do is make him Billy whatever, right? Any name. And it would have been great. Nobody could have bitch.
I mean, it's Skarsgård, so I mean, I have high hopes because he's always done everything good that I've seen him in, right?
I just think he's got too much of a Jared Leto Joker feel going on.
Yeah, the tattoos is over the top for me. That's what I think what really got me on. It's like the makeup, everything. Yeah, but you know what? He's not dead. That was the thing. Is that in the trailers, like the whole idea of the Crow is that you die to come back because of somebody that you loved.
Right.
And he's not dead.
Yeah, it's. Well, maybe they do kill him and we just don't know it. So, but, with the Skarsgård family, the one who played Loki in Vikings is probably one of my favorite of those brothers. Cousin. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep, I think it's Stefan.
Yeah, it's one of them. But
the dad.
He was just so, yeah.
The dad's funny.
So, I mean, there's just a lot of good movies out there. We're excited. June 13th, The Boys comes back on TV.
I know.
So we get to go see that. I think that's cool. We actually want Gabe to dress as Homelander.
He would be like the most perfect Homelander, but he's not allowed to watch the show yet.
Yeah.
So he has no idea who Homelander even is.
Yeah, and then we just have to find somebody to be the Deep and just walk around with a giant octopus.
I know.
That
I
guy's
remember when I read that series, right? When Mark Waid and everybody, and I was like, oh my God, they actually did this in a comic book.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to the orgasm series, right? And it's like, you're like, holy crap. And then they're going to show it on TV. And they did show it on TV. And
everything is that show is not for the faint of heart.
No. I mean, if you have any remorse or anything about stuff like that, do not watch the show.
My son will be watching it when he's about 35. I'll let him watch it.
He will sneak around and watch that.
So next year, when he's 15, I'll let him watch it.
No.
Here's the deal. If you tell the kid they can watch it, then they start to watch it and they're like, eh. But if you tell them don't watch it, they're going to.
Will.
Oh.
He's a guy. Trust me.
Yep. I was 6 years old when I watched Nightmare on Elm Street.
What year did that come out? 84? 84? Yeah, I was going on 11 because it came out in November. So I was turning 11.
I'm not going to say. Shut
up. Let's see. I would have been 2 when it originally came out. I was in 82.
Oh, so you guys are almost the same age.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I just like horror. So that's what I grew up with. But I also grew up with VHS.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of horror, I had an idea of my next fun drawing I'm going to do is all like, have you seen the skulls I do, Nathan? With I'm going to do a giant xenomorph skull.
Okay.
I think I'm just going to draw a xenomorph skull. A xenomorph?
Yeah.
The alien? Big long head.
From what?
From Alien.
Alien.
Have I seen Alien?
Oh God, Justin, you have failed.
Oh, hold on.
I told you I was not born into this world.
So do you remember in Backstreet Boys?
Yes.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with them. So anyway.
Well, then why would you say that?
The alien with Sigourney Weaver.
I didn't
mouth
see
that comes
that.
out.
Wait, they had the thing coming out of somebody's belly, right? Because I remember that was this. I don't know that, but I know that Spaceballs spoofed it. When we first got together, my knowledge of Star Wars was Spaceballs.
Darth Helmet. Yep, I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we were watching The Mandalorian. This is when I almost questioned everything, and then she opened her shirt and everything was great. We were watching The Mandalorian and they showed the Jawas and she's like, "Oh, dink dinks." I'm like,
"Yeah,
Jawas." She goes, "Yeah, dink dink, dink 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 dink." I was like, "No, These are Jawas.
Not Loompa Loompas.
Yeah, she thought they were the dinks from Spaceballs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. So the first couple of episodes of Mandalorian was a lot of education. A lot of. I actually had dark hair before that.
I don't think you ever had dark hair since we've been dating. Since we started dating.
Like September 25th, I did, and then we met each other on September 26th. Right from there, downhill. So
I don't know. Mine turned gray in the military, and then that's why my hair is still short today.
I didn't have any hair in the military. Maybe I should color it.
You tried that a couple years ago.
You did it.
You do red. Do red on it.
No.
It ended up turning a little red when we colored it.
I don't. Yeah, but then it's gonna grow out.
Yeah, and then it grew out right here, and then like right here was still colored.
I think for like guys, once you do it, you got to keep doing it. I just don't have patience.
And it's like mine. When I grow mine out, it goes this way, like a true up afro, and then it curls on the sides. So I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna keep the same cut I've done since '95.
Mine.
Hey, if it works.
This whole flip thing, I don't try to even do that. That's just. And it'll curl natural. Right here. It is natural. I have body.
Yeah, I did too in the 90s. It was called a mullet.
Yeah, no, I didn't. In the 90s, I was in the Army. Except for early 90s, I wasn't. Then I went in the Army. But I don't remember like 1992 to like 1996. It's all blur. I can't tell you music. I can't tell you movies that came out that time.
Come on now. Hellraiser 3 came out. Hell on Earth, which was the worst one.
So
The Crow came out in 94.
Yeah, and you dressed like him. He dressed like him. I
had a wig.
And you put the makeup on. And
well, I went to raves.
And he dressed like him.
A lot of people did. Let's see, but I'm just saying, like, if I had to remember certain things, I could. Like, to me, the best part about The Crow, like the movie, I could watch it now, but I could just put the soundtrack on.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the best soundtracks. Between that and The Lost Boys.
Spawn had a good soundtrack, too.
What's that?
Spawn had a good soundtrack, too.
I'm kind of nervous about the new movie coming up. See how they do that.
If McFarlane does it, I'm okay, but if he's not involved, I don't want to watch it.
I would love to see John Leguizamo back as the clown, though.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So
Keith David come back as freaking Al Simmons.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, he's been talking about that movie for years. We are going to go. I think the Deadpool Wolverine will be okay. I mean, I'm Ryan Reynolds out. Like, I just don't want to see anything with Ryan Reynolds in it anymore because it's the same character in every movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to see that one.
But with like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, obviously.
I don't think nobody else can pull off Wolverine the way they do it.
No, I know, like in the cartoon, or like the comic and stuff, he's only supposed to be like 5 foot, 5'3". And Hugh Jackman is very tall, but still, my God, he's so good.
If they had to redo it, then they would need to redo it to a point where you didn't even know who he was.
I think that they missed an opportunity when it first came out. They should have got Glenn Danzig to play Wolverine.
Oh, dude, that would have been awesome. I would have loved that.
He's lead singer from the Misfits, which doesn't help.
No.
They had one of the most iconic covers of all time.
What?
Well, that's when he was.
Ew.
No, that's when he was. Glenn Danzig.
What is he? 5'3"?
He's 5'5". Yeah, but look how muscular he is.
Yeah.
He could have been.
Okay.
Yeah, they missed an opportunity. See?
All right.
Because he looks like him from the thing. If you were to see him back then. See?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
But, yeah, he would have been I mean, back then that would have been perfect.
Okay.
And then Lita Ford could have been Rogue.
Oh yeah, that would have been a great time.
You have a thing for her, though.
I had a thing for her, yeah. I did.
If you
Not
did,
anymore.
then you still do. That's kind of
But
how it
not
is.
anymore.
To a degree, I don't know. Salma Hayek and Catherine Zeta-Jones. They're both close second and third to you.
Nice suck up there.
Mm-hmm. So, anywho.
I'm the only one that doesn't look ethnic like they do.
Oh, you look ethnic.
White.
No, I do you know how many people have to tell that you're not Mexican?
Shut up.
They're like, your wife's Mexican? I'm like, no. She's Irish and Native American. No.
Oh, shut up. Nobody thinks I'm Mexican.
Brian thought you were Mexican. He's like, do you know Spanish because your wife's Mexican? I was like, no, her original name was Evans. He's like, huh? I said, she's Irish and part Native American. He goes, she's not Mexican? I was like, no.
So what Indian side? Because I'm half Cherokee.
Creek.
Great. Okay.
Muskogee.
Yeah, it's like 50% Cherokee, then a mixture of mutt for the rest of it.
Oh yeah, I'm a like super mutt. I think I've got like everything, including Asian.
I'm
Got some
white.
Asian.
I'm European. I'm white.
Yeah, you're very white. All white.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, my grandparents on my mom's side
Oh,
were.
we do have I have some Egyptian, yes. Coptic Egyptian. We built the pyramids.
Well, the Israelites actually built the pyramids, not the Egyptians.
That's what Coptic Egyptians are. They
Oh,
left
is it?
from, yeah, the Coptic Egyptians were the slaves of Egypt, and they were the ones who, like, Egyptian landlords would breed with the Jewish women, and then the children of that became Coptic Egyptians. And when they moved out, they flowed back up and through the Middle East, back up into Europe.
Oh, I learned something new today. Thank you.
Yep. So, 0.02%.
Well, that's better than what I've got. I mean, I've got German, Austrian, Irish, Scottish, English, and Cherokee.
Okay.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's not too muddy like me.
Mostly Eastern European and Scandinavian.
So you must like fish then.
I actually don't mind fish.
Yeah, he does like fish.
Yep.
I do too.
But not lutefisk.
Not Luke. Have you ever had lutefisk?
I have.
Mm.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
Isn't it like a fish gelatin?
It's gelatinous.
So look.
Yeah.
It's a type of herring, but it comes in
They
like.
make it into a jello.
But no, it has the packing is like a gel that goes around it.
Oh.
Like when you ever open a Vienna sausage, all the gel
No.
that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No, those sound disgusting.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
what we had to eat. I remember.
I was gonna say that's Army issue staple military food.
MRE. I'll never forget when I was in the service. Like they found these old sea rats, right? And you know how old sea rats are.
Yeah.
And then they found K rations.
Okay.
And I'm like, we're gonna eat K rats on a dare, right? And we do a lot of stupid things in the military. K rats are from the 1940s and 50s, and World War II.
What? Yeah. Like what is it? What is it?
So
package them in brown boxes and stuff like that, and then metal tins and everything.
And they've been sitting there since the 1940s, and you ate them.
So
what is wrong with you, military people? You guys will eat anything.
We used to take the Vienna sausages, and then you take your cheese whiz, and you
put it inside,
and you fill it up, and you'd have little mini cheese dogs.
Exactly.
And then what you would do is you'd fill a bunch of them up, you put them in tin foil, and then you set them in the manifold of the Humvee. While the Humvee's running, you warm them up.
Yeah, we used to take our fried pan, take the green eggs and ham, and put it on top.
Yeah, from the MRE.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, literally, they are green eggs and ham. Literally.
We were at her parents' property, and this is probably about 2 years ago. And my niece was there with us, Hannah, who honestly, she adores me. She thinks I'm probably one. She's actually pissed her mom off because she said I was cooler than her brother. But
she's like the sassiest little 7-year-old you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
Sass.
But because I say like sauce and stuff, she's like, "Hey, Who's saucy? How's your coffee? Where's your dog? So she overemphasized. But anyway, we were messing around. I was splitting firewood, and she's like, "Don't hit it. There's a bug." And there's a larvae. And I was like, "Just eat it." She's like, "I'm not eating it." I was like, "Just eat it." She goes, "You eat it." I ate it. She was just like, how do you do that? And I was like,
just do it.
jungle training, you just do it. So, yeah, I don't know. That's why, like, where I work, because I work at mall, people are like, Brian, my maintenance supervisor who works for me, he's like, "I don't see you eating at such and such." I was like, "Yeah, absolutely not." He goes, "I thought you eat anything." I was like, "That should tell you something." If I'm not eating there.
Oh, like the Thai restaurant?
Yeah.
On like the west side of Oli.
Oh yeah. There's one over there, and I was just like, oh my God. I tell her I'll eat anything almost. But if there's a restaurant I'm like, I'm not eating there, you should be worried.
That means it's bad. Like something's very bad.
Yeah, because he will eat things off of the ground without the 5-second rule. Like,
hey, it's
sitting
a
there
cold
for an
city,
hour.
dog.
Not an hour.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, have a little bit of a standard.
But yeah, if he refuses to eat at a restaurant, you're like, all right, we won't eat there.
So, speaking of which,
you're hungry.
Yeah.
Good time to eat. All right. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for everything. I always enjoy talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see you guys soon. You need to come to Fan Expo Dallas, though.
When is that?
So we have it in June this year, which I know is too fast for you guys because you know how the vendor stuff goes.
Yeah. Next year is when we start. We want to plan on going to a couple of shows because we'll have 5 books at that point. Do you know what I mean? Because if you show up and you have 1 book, you really, it's not worth it. So as you build up the backing and stuff, and people will buy it, and you have extra stuff to offer. So next year, I think we'll start adding 2 or 3 extras.
And we like Texas.
Well, next year we're going to go to Tucson. I know that.
Tucson Comic Con's good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Brian runs that one.
Oh, yeah. He just invited me to that Facebook group.
Yeah. He's inviting everybody that he thinks is going to be good for that one.
Yeah. So we'll probably try to go to that one. We do Emerald City every year because it's right up the road. And I think we'll probably I think the other one I think would be worth it is maybe like C2E2 or like Baltimore.
Baltimore's good. I mean, it's a little more celebrity based. The last time I went to Baltimore, so it all depends on what kind of people. We actually have another one here. It's called Cowtown.
I heard of Cowtown.
And we kind of bring everybody and their brother to that.
Don't you work on Cowtown?
I do. I work. Yeah.
Well, we enjoy Texas. We love it down there.
Yeah, I always work Cowtown. I work it either with Pastime or like this year I'm working with Ethereal there. But we bring kind of anybody and this year's Ryan Kincaid's coming with there. Last year we had Sabine Rich, and so we always bring a bunch of people, and it's Comic Central versus celebrity based a lot.
Yeah. Well, if you send us the information, let us know about it, because those are ones you have to plan out, right? Because it's travel, it's how do I ship my stuff, where's it go, and stuff like that. But we'll get these prints out to you, Nathan, and then the Kickstarter launch is 6:00 next Wednesday in the morning. So
we'll launch it. I'll put it on my page and I'll put it out there for you guys. So let's get you guys funded and early funded.
Yeah, that's the goal. And then thanks for having us on. It's good chatting with you. And
thank you.
Any of your friends and fans who jump on, welcome to follow Mythos and follow the NinjaWitch story.
Definitely. And guys, I'll put the descriptions down below, all the links and everything. There's a Mythos Facebook group too, so come on, join in. We have a good time. We see a lot of cool stuff there.
What's that?
Instagram and Facebook.
Oh yeah, they're very up to date.
I'm trying.
All right. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.